The group that we'll be sharing now is the junior high youth and their leaders who went on a service trip the third week of July. We stayed at a campground in Streetsboro, Ohio, while serving each day at the Hattie Larlham Foundation. Hattie Larlham was founded more than 45 years ago and continues to provide quality care for children and adults with severe mental and physical disabilities. Her mission statement is, because we believe that life is sacred, Hattie Larlham enhances the quality of life for people with disabilities and their families through our commitment to comfort, joy, and achievement. This facility has around 125 handicapped people living on the main campus, as well as a number of group homes for adults who may or may not have slightly higher physical abilities. They also provide respite care and many other services to families of people who have disabilities. We were there for 4 full days, doing many activities with the residents, and we came to realize that each one is an individual who deserves respect and love, and we were able to show this to the ones we came in contact with. This was a very stretching experience for all of us, since the people we worked with could not communicate in the same ways that we do. Most of them cannot talk or can only say a few words, most cannot walk, and many have limited control of their arms and legs and even their head. But through the training we were given and watching the kind staff who work with these people every day, we were able to see each individual with fresh eyes and learn to enjoy being there. This group adapted so well from the first day when they awkwardly stood around, unsure of what to say or do, to the last day when they were experts at pushing wheelchairs and smiling and talking to residents. They each showed God's love in a profound way, and in return, learned that love is something we choose to show and do. Love is not just a feeling. As 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4, 7, and 8 say, love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails. Each one will be sharing a part of how we showed that love and what we did during the week, as well as telling you about one of the individuals that we got to spend time with.
When we first got to Hattie Larlham, we went through training with the volunteer coordinators. We learned how to act with the children. We also learned more about disabilities. We practiced pushing wheelchairs and we rode in them to see what it would feel like. We did an activity to simulate what it may feel like for an autistic child. We tried to act out a feeling or something we wanted without talking because most of the children couldn't talk at Hattie Larlham. We also tried to write with our non-dominant hand while having a mitten on it. We also tried to help our partner do it so we would know how to help the kids. And lastly, we took a tour of Hattie Larlham. And one of the children at Hattie Larlham was Haley, who loved to be pushed on a swing. When we pushed her, she laughed and had the biggest smile on her face.
Every day we spent a lot of time interacting with the residents. There were many different ways to interact with them. First of all, we would get down to their eye level and try to make eye contact with them and talk to them in a friendly manner. We read books and stories to them, and we looked at pictures with them. Some had a communication book that had pictures of different activities that they liked to do, and a few of them could point to a picture and to indicate what they wanted in a way of telling others. When they accomplished something, we would clap or say good job. We helped them in school to push buttons, play games, and help them in art class. We also pushed them in swings, tossed balls with them, and pushed them around in their wheelchairs. My experience gave me a greater appreciation and admiration for those people who work with residents each day.
So I get to talk about the school. The charter school they go to is connected to the Hattie Larlham building. The kids have to go to school every day, even through the summer. That way their life is more structured and stable. They get breaks throughout the year. They attend school until they are 21, when they graduate. I was in the schoolroom of 8th, 9th, and 10th graders one day. My job was to count how many times the 10th grader could push the yellow button. Our goal was 6, but the more the merrier. There was also another boy who had a radio type invention. You had to press the button down to hear the music. That kid sure liked Miley Cyrus. He danced along with it for a couple minutes too. It's cool how the kids have so much fun at school. They also have buttons that talk and help them recognize the weather and the Pledge of Allegiance. There's also music, cooking in art classes where the teachers help them do the work. Like in our class, the kids can choose the color of the paint they want, and then the teachers can help guide their hand on the paper. The kids were awesome too. My favorite was Daniel. Most of the time I tried to pick the quieter kids, but I underestimated him. It turned out to be great though. He had the cutest yell. I don't know if you think any yelling is cute, but his nose was so innocent, and he was just having fun. He also made horse sounds and duck sounds. I tried mimicking the sounds and couldn't quite do it right. I think he learned his duck sounds from a stuffed animal at Quack. He also had a stuffed frog and a stuffed animal that made noise that crackled. I think those stuffed animals cinched the deal of Daniel being my favorite. He was 9 or 10 years old and was hilarious. When we took walks, if I started talking too much, he let me know. He'd do this for 10 seconds. I asked a worker if he shook his head often. They said he always did that. That made me feel a little bit better. At least he wasn't getting a headache from my talking. We also read books to our kids, and Daniel sure didn't like books. He couldn't sit still long enough, and he kept shaking his head. But even with all Daniel's disagreement, the week was definitely a great week. It changed my look on handicapped people, especially the kids. With all the kids in wheelchairs, I felt like the outsider. I didn't quite fit in with the kids there. But the kids and I both like having fun, and some of the kids don't like going to school, just like me. The difference is they can fall asleep during class and not get in trouble. The whole experience was just incredible.
Alright, I had the living area where the kids actually spent their time sleeping, where they ate, where they actually came together and were taken care of by the nurses and everything. And we weren't necessarily in this area a lot of the time. We were, playing with them or taking them outside and doing that stuff. But this is the area that actually slept, and that most of them either had one roommate or they had 3 other roommates, so they were in rooms of 4. And the families were encouraged to decorate them however they wanted. I'm not sure how they decided to do that, but if their parents, weren't there in their lives, then they would, give them a TV or give them stuff in their room. The rooms were actually pretty nice, and they were really well taken care of. I was talking to one of the one nurses, and she said one of the things is to make sure you don't pity these people, because they don't know anything else. They've been born like this, and they're taken well care of. And I think as you move throughout the week and you got to know the kids, and the first day was a lot where, I don't know, everyone has preconceived ideas about what it's going to be like when you get there. And I guess I didn't really exactly know what it was all going to entail, but when you get there that first time and you're sitting next to someone who can't talk to you, sitting next to someone who, maybe is not even looking at you half the time, you're jabbing away at them and they're just kind of looking the other way. And it's just, you get to know by the second or third day each different kid's personality. And the first day it was am I reaching these kids? Am I doing anything to even benefit them? And you kind of realize as you go on, just asking questions, that these kids understand a lot more of what you're saying than it appears. And these kids, you get them to laugh and have a good time. And Sara already talked about my girl Kaylee a little bit. I loved her. But I also have a girl, Victoria. It's kind of a ladies' man. But she was only, I don't know, I would have thought she was 5 years old. She was so small, but she ended up, she was 18 years old. And there's the same for a lot of these kids. We have a 21-year-old boy that can just hold arms. And it's crazy when you heard about that. But I don't know, just as we went throughout the week and you actually got to know their personalities, it made it hard to leave by the end because they're really cool kids. So.
On Wednesday, the employees informed us that they were having a fire drill before lunch. It turned out to be a full evacuation, which meant that all of the residents, employees, and volunteers had to get out of the building. We all evacuated to the parking lot, and surprisingly, it only took 5 minutes to get the 127 residents, who were all in wheelchairs, out of the building. They were very thankful for our help, because it meant less trips back into the building to get the residents and a quicker evacuation. One of my favorite individuals was Matthew. He liked to play catch with people and would laugh when somebody wouldn't catch the ball. He was very smart because when you would glance away or turn away for just a second, that's when he would throw the ball. He wouldn't give you a chance to catch it, so it would bounce off you and then he would laugh. It was fun to do with him.